Welcome everyone, Tactical Lich here. Today we have a battle from one of the Friday Night Fights tournament hosted by Cool Umbrella. This battle, we have Cool Umbrella himself playing as the Nurgle, as one of the few Nurgle mains in the entire multiplayer scene. His opponent right here is Rider of Rohan, a High Elf main, in a rather advantageous matchup usually for the High Elves with their abundance of spears and missiles. However, Cool Umbrella will be countering this with an approach of pure numbers, going for a ton of Marauder spam, 3 Marauders with great weapons, 5 more of regular Marauders, and then a few more Nurgling chaff on the side. On top of that, there are a bunch of Chaos Warhounds trying to field a full 20 stack army supported by a few single entities here. The Soul Grinder of Nurgle with a lot of Plague Mortar bombardment, and the Hero Hammer squad of the Nurgle army, double Exalted Heroes of Nurgle, and a single Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle coming in with Stream of Corruption and Fleshy Abundance for the 2 supporting spells. As for Rider of Rohan, going for a missile spam approach for sure. A staunch line of spear, one of them the spears, and 2 more Silvern Guard, basically a tough front line. Behind them, the missile core, 2 Sisters of Avalon, flanked by a couple Loven Sea Guards and more spears at the back and another Loven Sea Guard. As for the mobility, just going for pure missiles as well, 4 Illyrian Reaver Archers for a lot of skirmishing firepower. Supporting the entire army, the hero squad, a Mage of Light coming in with only Knight of Amantog, Mage of Life for the Earthblood heal, and Tyrion himself coming in with Sunfang, and that's it. Also Heart of Avalon actually, for just a burst of life-saving hit points. That's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. The battle opens with the Soul Grinder blasting 1 volley of shots into some of these Illyrian Reaver Archers, doing some minor damage. But then of course with the Illyrian Reaver Archers approaching, he is being focus fired by all 4 skirmishing cavalry and needs to back up, and they'll be backing up into the tree line. Perhaps you might have seen something similar on my channel before, and that is right, this is indeed the battle where I showcase that one Soul Grinder shooting straight into the trees. Now he is hiding in the tree line, and since he's blocked up by the tree right now, his shots aren't going through the terrain, and unfortunately all those ammo will be wasted off on this one single tree that he hates so much. However, Cool Umbrella will still be fighting on while he himself is confused by why the Soul Grinder just not doing any damage. Now Tyrion is getting a little too close to the Chaos Nurgle Hero Hammer squad, so Tyrion will be backing off, while the Illyrian Reaver Archers will be continuing their skirmishing on the Chaos Warhounds, doing some nice chip damage here and there. Now these Illyrian Reaver Archers getting a little too close into melee combat will quickly back off, while Tyrion still tangling on the edge of being caught by all these armor-piercing single entities. Now finally one of the Exalted Hero might just be able to caught up to him. But that also exposes the Nurgle hero to a barrage of Sisters of Avalon focus fire, but then another hit from the Exalted Nurgle hero. Tyrion's HP bar had a notable dent, forcing him to retreat, while the Chaos Exalted hero is somehow pushing through the Knight of Amantog with the charge animation not stopping at all. While the other one is getting blasted point blank by multiple Sisters of Avalon, receiving some nasty damage. At the same time, the front line of the Nurgle infantry are colliding with the spears and will be quickly beaten back, or at least stuck on the rather staunch line of defense of the High Elves. While on the flank here, because of so many Nurgle infantry units, there's simply not enough High Elves to stop them all. So these Marauders will be flanking around, same goes for the Nurglings, wrapping through the flanks and might just be able to get onto the Sisters of Avalon, while the Exalted Hero of Nurgle, who has received some massive damage from all those Sisters of Avalon, will be backing all the way into the tree line, probably waiting for a heal coming in from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Also, a bit of a Sunfang going down the line on all these Marauders of Nurgle here, doing some really nice damage, albeit at the cost of some of the lives of these Loven Sea Guard. So this buckles the High Elf defenses on the right flank, allowing the Nurglings and Marauders to flood in, while on the left flank things are still relatively secure, as the Loven Sea Guard are standing there shooting up the Nurglings, while Illyrian Reaver Archers will be cycle-charging and running down some routed, scattered Nurgle infantry. Now with the massive onslaught from the Nurgle's left flank, the High Elves are in a bit of a disarray. Loven Sea Guard and spears moving in place to plug the gap, but they might not be able to catch everything. Some Illyrian Reaver archers are being pursued by a bunch of Warhounds. Having the mark of Nurgle, the Warhounds do have the poison to slow down their target, and that means the Reavers will be easily caught up by the Warhounds and being dragged into the dirt. The secondary line of spears are holding for now. While another net of Elemental going down on the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, now the Sisters of Avalon are focusing fire on him, but there are more and more Nurgle infantry flooding in. A lot of the shots are not exactly hitting because the horse-sized Lord is not the greatest target to hit. There are also more Marauders going around the Spirit line, pressuring the Sisters of Avalon at the back. Some Nurglings manage to get onto the Sisters and are shutting down quite a few unit models, especially with their rather disruptive attacking animations. The balled up Nurglings are actually knocking back quite a few of the Sisters of Avalon, and now the Marauders are also in the fray. The spears are holding them off for now, but they're slowly but surely being ground down by the sheer numbers of the Nurgle army. More Marauders from the back are regrouping and also returning to the fight, while the Soul Grinder finally moving out of the tree line. No idea why, probably because their target moved and was actually considered as obstructed by the tree. Finally, starting to do some damage, smashing apart some of the Sisters of Avalon. Nurglings continues to pressure the Illyrian Reaver archers, and the Everqueen's Court Guard moving out of the original position as it is soon to be overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of Nurgle Marauders and Warhounds, and the spears are also buckling as well. You can see these spearmen are barely hanging on and will soon be overwhelmed by the Marauders. While the Everqueen's Court Guard are moving forward trying to shoot up the Soul Grinder, but that does exposes them to the Marauders of Nurgle here, who are beelining straight for these expensive missile infantry. At the back, some Nurglings are tying down the Illyrian Reaver archers and some Lothian Sea Guard. Some of the Sisters are also taking substantial losses from all these Marauder infantry and whatnot. Tyrion trying to fight the Exalted Hero there, but both units have armor piercing, and then more and more single entities of the Nurgle Goon Squads are flooding in, and Tyrion having a rather small sized hordes facing down two massive guys with their great axes and another Sorcerer Lord as well. Tyrion is now getting his ass handed to him, and with his hit points running low, Tyrion is running for his life, but then got stuck on the Soul Grinder, who has ran out of ammo and now engaging in melee combat. But thankfully for him, the Heart of Avalon is procced, so he is surviving for now, receiving a massive burst heal. The Mage of Life is fighting alongside Tyrion, but unfortunately she's not gonna be of any help other than providing additional heals. The High Elves have beaten back a lot of Marauder units, but some of them are still regrouping on the far end of the battlefield. There are some Sisters of Avalon here, fending off the Marauders of Nurgle. They do have elite enough melee stats, 47 attack, 60 melee defense, the Everqueen's Court Guard, the Regiment of Renown version. So they actually have enough stats and leadership to beat back the Marauders. On the side, there are some Warhounds chasing off the Reaver archers, and the Mage of Light, who is on foot, is now fighting the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Not the greatest fight for the Mage, since she doesn't have any armor piercing and also worse melee stats. At the same time, Tyrion isn't enjoying himself either, being pursued by the very healthy Exalted Hero of Nurgle. Even the Soul Grinder is going after him right now, being poisoned by the attacks of the Exalted Hero. He doesn't have the speed to get rid of all these rather fast-moving single entities here, and will soon be caught up by the charging animation and hacked down in melee combat, while the other Exalted Hero here is fighting alongside Marauders, giving them a little bit of a heroic and leadership support. Good news for the High Elves, they have reformed their archer line, resuming their arrow volleys against the Nurgle forces. Unfortunately for them, more and more Marauders are coming back. These Sisters of Avalon are soon to be overwhelmed by all those Marauder infantry and whatnot, while Tyrion is getting lower and lower in terms of HP. The single entity hunt is going quite well for the Nurgle army. With all the healing, the Exalted Heroes are almost at full health, while their armor piercing are great at handling Tyrion. The Soul Grinder is getting shot by the Everqueen's Court Guard for now, but he does have enough HP to tank it for a while. Lothian Sea Guard, who ran out of ammo, surrounds the Nurgle Hero Squad, tying them down and buying time for the Sisters of Avalon to expend their own ammo. Well, while the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle is pinned down by the Mage of Light. Unable to move anywhere, he is getting shot point blank by all the Sisters of Avalon, but he is tanking it. Not only does he have 15% missile resistance, he is also blessed by the Net of Amentok bug. The attacking animation moves him away from the shots despite being netted down. To make things worse, he actually did it twice, dodging a lot of the shots from the last couple volleys of those Sisters of Avalon. Cool Umbrella getting very lucky there at the expense of Rider of Rohan. Balance of power is actually in the favor of the Nurgles right now, because their single entities are still very healthy while the High Elves are running out of single entities health. Tyrion is low in health, being hit by the Soul Grinder and continuously being pursued. He is trying to get the hell out of there before he himself get hacked down, while the infantry of the High Elves are trying their best to fight. High Elf infantry do have pretty good melee stats and leadership, so they will be fighting for quite a while. The problem is that they don't have enough DPS. It all comes down to the Sisters of Avalon to see if they can dish out enough damage against the single entities before they are inevitably shut down. So they're indeed aiming their arrows at the Nurgle hero squad, trying to whittle them down. The remaining spears are also throwing themselves at the Nurgle heroes, covering the retreat of Tyrion. Sorry about that, had to re-record the last bit of this battle, which is rather long as we are entering the single entity grinding phase. We'll be going to fast forward here as the Nurgle army only has the hero goon squad left on the field. Unfortunately for us, for some reason this file seems to have some replay issues and stutter at points. Either ways, in a fast forward that isn't that much of a big deal. Tyrion, who is almost at his heal cap and extremely weak right now, does not want to challenge this Doom squad, so he will be chasing off some routed Nurgle units. The Nurgle hero squad continues to hold out in the middle of a bunch of High Elf infantry with the heavy armor and heavy melee defense. On top of that, their attacks have poison, so they will continuously debuff the weapon strength of the High Elf units, reducing their damage output. As a result, the HP of the Nurgle Doom squad is dropping at an extremely slow rate. One of the Exalted hero even have enough HP left to directly challenge Tyrion to a straight melee fight. Tyrion, in contrast, is running out of health, so he is running for his life right now. The remaining High Elves barely beaten back the Nurgle characters, but Tyrion is returning with his pursuer at his tail. Tyrion tried to charge and kill the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, but his hit didn't land. It also delayed him long enough that the Exalted heroes managed to catch up. With Tyrion slain, the High Elf leadership took a massive hit and the Nurgle characters have nothing to stop them. They charge into the Sisters of Avalon, shut them down, and the High Elves no longer has anything armor piercing to kill them. The Nurgle heroes then finish off the Life Mage, securing victory for the Grandfather. GG to both Cool Umbrella and Rider of Rohan there. Cool Umbrella, despite fighting with a massive disadvantage at the beginning with the Soul Grinder unloading all of his ammo into the tree in front of him, still managed to pull back pretty well with the large numbers of Marauders and Nurglings overwhelming the rather narrow High Elf army, and then of course the Nurgle Hero Goon Squad, the Doom Squad, carrying the day with the sheer amount of healing and the tankiness of these characters. Normally this is a bad matchup for Nurgle because of High Elf's abundant missiles. Cool Umbrella was able to turn the tables. For the damage value, really is the Exalted heroes who carry the game here, over 2,000 gold worth of damage value on both units, while the Chaos Sorcerer Lord also getting some nice damage done with the Stream of Corruption and melee attacks. The Soul Grinder didn't do much here, while the Marauders did pretty solid in terms of damage value, recovering most if not all of their cost, while the Warhounds pressured the Reaver Archers and chased down quite a few of the High Elf routed units, while the rest of the Marauders here, the regular variant, did okay, mostly just overwhelming and just overrunning the High Elf's position alongside with the support of some Nurglings. For the High Elves here, Rider of Rohan put up a very strong resistance with the sheer amount of missiles. The Sisters of Avalon carried their own weight for sure with the devastating missile attacks, and after that running out of ammo, going into melee combat with their elite melee stats. The other Sisters of Avalon also did some solid damage, but just not quite enough to deal with the sheer amount of healing available to the Nurgle army, especially against the Nurgle character Doom Squad. For the rest of the army here, Spears and Sylvan Guard held their ground, but eventually got dragged down by the numbers of the Nurgle army. Loven Seagull also did a lot of damage, while the Illyrian Reaver Archers also carried most of their own weight. Unfortunately though, for the High Elves, the heroes didn't really do enough carrying here, especially Tyrion getting smacked by the double armor piercing heroes. Combined with the constant poison debuffs against the High Elf army, a lot of their damage output got lowered. And because of the High Elves' lack of numbers, they can't really handle the overwhelming push of a full 20 stack of Nurgle army. A lot of the missile units got dragged into melee combat, losing a lot of their missile damage potential in the process. Overall, a very solid battle from both players. I hope viewers you enjoyed, and if you do and want to see more, be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you want to showcase your own replay, feel free to drop by my Discord and send me the replay file. I'll be sure to check them out. That's all for today, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.